Hey guys, how are you doing this morning? I have decided to go and get my focus up on this character for a second and show you guys an easy way to do this. As a scout, your combat arts are really fast, so it's not easy to get your focus skill up. It's not as imperative to have a high focus on a scout or a fighter because your cast time is so short that you don't have as much reason to need it. But when you do need it and it fails, it's always an issue. So I like to try to keep mine up as high as possible. Right now, mine's a little bit low. My focus is 137 out of possible 155. So one way you can do that as a scout is to aggro something, especially like gray. And if it's a group, it's even better because they're going to be hitting you more often and interrupting you more often. So let's start the fight with a cheap shot. So we're not actually doing any damage or going into combat um, to the extent that we're making the auto attack go off. So then you cast your hex dolls. And with three of them hitting you, a lot of times it won't make it all the way through like that. You'll get interrupted. But you see, my focus has already gone up one since I started. So now I'm at 138 of 155, 139 of 155. So it actually goes up fairly quickly because the hex dolls take a long while to cast. In my case, I have two different hex dolls. Um, and so I have two different abilities that can be used. So if I do end up casting one of them all the way, then I can always just cast the other one. Of course, I can stop the cast if I want to, just by moving, because it is more of a spell cast and you have to be still in order to finish it up. Because what I'm fighting is gray, it's not doing that much damage to me. It is doing some damage, as you can see, I just went down into the yellow, but it's not doing that much damage, and I can get a long ways into it before I need to do anything about it. So, and of course, you can go to a lower level zone, and it works just as well. I mean, I could hop into the peat bog and get some of those fairies to be beating on me, and of course, obviously, they can beat on me, and I can continue to survive just fine. So this is moving my focus up pretty quickly. It'll also get up your defense and parry. Those are a little bit slower to raise, but those also are more likely, if you're soloing at least, to go up just organically. We're up to 146 of 155 right now, and I think I'm gonna go ahead and just let them hit me some more. Thought about maybe knocking one of them out real quick. You can see that my riposte is bringing all of their health down a little bit as they beat on me. It's not in real danger of killing any of them yet, but if I wanted to kill one, it would be very simple to do so. I'd rather not, because I prefer to have more hits on me to get the focus up a little bit faster. If you go into a very low level zone, then you can pull multiple groups and have them all beating on you simultaneously. And that would go even a little bit faster. But I happened to be over in the Commonlands. And so I thought this would be a fun thing to show you. We're already at 151 out of 155. And so we started at 137 and we've made it this far already. So we've gained 14 points in, let's see, 10:54 is when this started. It's now 10:57, so we've been going for 3 minutes, and we've gained, now we're up to 155. We can finish these folks off pretty quickly. So, there you go. A little guide for how to very quickly get your focus up on a scout or a fighter. Of course, you can do it with a caster as well, but casters have like a mage or a priest have so many things that they can cast that take a long time that it's not as the hex doll significance is less for sure. Now, just for fun, I'm gonna go and check on V'Tal Narin's brother again. Now I've been doing this every few days, but I think that I'm gonna give it another shot. There's really not much chance that he's up. I personally haven't bug reported it. I don't know. I haven't decided 100% if it's a bug. I haven't checked to see if there's something going on with the quest. I haven't checked the forums or anything like that. So, it's possible that it's a known issue. And one way or another, I certainly didn't bug report it. And there hasn't been an update. Even if I had reported it yesterday, for instance, first of all, the odds that they would have had a chance to look at that would be low. And second of all, there's no way that they could have implemented it really anyway. I did wonder if I could slash hail it with any luck. If it's under the ground or something. But, let's see. I don't know the name of it. It's some kind of corpse. Maybe I'll look it up later and find out exactly what the name of the body is. It doesn't say, obviously it doesn't say Narin on it or anything like that, but it says, I don't know, something probably about being a decaying corpse or something like that. So, there's a possibility that I could try to target it that way. We're going to see if I can get this shiny before I run for it. After all, I did get my focus up, right? There we go. Success. Run this guy off. V'Tal Narin's body, by the way, should have been back where I was a moment ago. The fact that it wasn't there implies that I was correct in my assumption, and it has not been fixed at this time. It sounds from what I have heard from other people on this server that it was working properly at one point, but so I don't really know when it has ceased to work. I don't know when it broke, but as far as I can tell, it seems to have. On the plus side, I'm getting some shinies from here. I think I still need some stuff from here, so let's see here. Collections. And we'll go by level. Well, let's see here. Let's see. What could we need from here? I think we might need okay, we have the grog coins, I see. Rivervale. So, of course, there's a lot of bones and shards that have a possibility of spawning in here. Yeah, I don't know. We may have the coins from here, looks like. But maybe a shiny or two that we could still get, which is always nice. I'm pretty low on inventory space at the moment. I actually need to get the alarm from the marketplace. The first one, I did get the second one. Don't know that I want to go try to do that right now because I'm alone and it works better in a group. I could invis. Not gonna do it. I'm just gonna. Actually, I think I'm gonna go ahead and call back to town and see about unloading these bags. Nobody's on right now in the guild, so that seems like a good start. I did some work to the channel this morning, and hopefully it's showing better in the stream than it was before. I don't know. If anybody, if anybody sees any differences, let me know if they're good, bad, or ugly. because I'm looking on my phone as my second screen, and I don't think that I'm seeing the same thing as what you would see on like a computer screen. At some point, maybe I will get a second monitor, and then I can. I think it'll be a little bit easier um, for me to see what's going on, see the chat better, because right now I can see, like I can see that I have viewers, but I can't actually see who they are. And my understanding is that if I had a second monitor, it seems apparently there's a button I can click to see who they are, which would be awesome. So now I don't know why a bird skull has ended up in our lore and legend depot. That's not a lore and legend item at all, but I'll see if I can cleanse the depot of such things real fast. No sense in having that kind of thing in there. It obviously just got marked accidentally. It's also a ground stone. That's not one. And in fact, yeah, no, no good whatsoever. That's just vendor trash stuff, and it's no need to be in there. All right, good to go on those, and then I'll throw some. The interesting thing about the scroll depots is that it's not just spells that can go into it. You can also put your advanced or not advanced, even just regular crafting books in there. So when we click deposit all, it gets rid of all of those books awesomely. I actually also have this furniture piece here that I don't care about one way or another, so I'm going to toss it into here, and whoever wants these items is welcome to them. So I think it's a troll wooden crate maybe, or maybe it was the wooden pet cage, and the words of Zebuxaruk and Granville's dining table. So we got those taken care of. I think that I have a trade skill quest at the moment, so I may as well knock that one out as well. Don't need that checked at the moment, but I will check off the crafting quest, and I will put on my crafting gear. First, I'm going to save. Anytime that you are switching armor sets, be sure to look and pay attention to that save button, because if it's grayed out, that means, you've saved that set. But if it isn't, then go ahead and save it. Sometimes that can happen just because you've put new food or drink in, and that'll save it as a new set. But anyway, just be aware that if that save button is lit up, then you definitely want to click it before you switch out of your armor set. So I'm going to go into my crafting set and go knock this one out. Open the knowledge book, because we want to be sure to use the latest and greatest as far as the crafting abilities go. Now, Bum Rush. And we'll start in on this. For anyone who hasn't heard me say so before, whenever you are searching your recipe book, you do not have to put in the entire name of what you're looking for. You can just put in the first couple of letters of every word, or the first couple of words in some cases, and it will pare down what's showing to you so that you can much more easily find the recipes that you want to make. That is applicable to any of the search bars, including the broker, of course. So anytime that you're looking for anything, you don't have to type in the entire name. I won't say that applies to every single search bar, but the vast majority of them, you're going to find that to be the case. So good news, you do not have to scroll through 500 different recipes in order to find the one that you're looking for. And if you're looking for something and you're not really sure what, but you want it for a certain class and a certain level, that's one good function of the edit button. You can go and choose the type of character that you're making it for. So you can be like, I want something for a level 30 swashbuckler, you know, and you can say, I want it to be, you know, using metalworking, right? And you would get all of the metalworking skills to show up, all of the recipes that use metalworking that make items that can be used by a level 30 swashbuckler. So, just as a reminder, that's available, and it makes crafting much simpler than it would otherwise be. Right now, I'm primarily working on increasing the durability of this item, and it just kind of increases the speed with which the item is made. So I was doing 2 of the increased progresses, and then 1 of the durabilities, because that was keeping a nice little rhythm going there. And that's, you know, you can just do the 3 increased progresses, and that'll get you a long way, and then you can, you know, fight to get your durability back if you need to. And if you don't need to, you can just finish it out. But I'm going the brainless method so far, and mostly doing 2 increases of progress, 1 increase of durability every cycle. So. Now I think, from what I can see in my window, that I may need to maybe move things around on the screen a little bit. I'm not sure. It might be okay, but it might block, when I'm in combat, it might block the threat window. Possibly. It's hard to say. You know what? I can find out by clicking function F10 and seeing what that looks like on this little tiny phone screen that I have here. Maybe that works on here. Who knows? Maybe not. I don't actually see any change. Okay, there it is. All right, yes. It looks like it might be covering some of my stuff. Oh, I may have to readjust that. When you press F10, it will highlight all of the areas where your things are. So, like right now, I can see that the recipe window over here is kind of over my maintain spells window. That doesn't matter, but it's just something that you can look at in case you're having trouble, like you're trying to click a window and you keep not being able to, or you're clicking something else and you don't know why. Sometimes that can be because one of your windows that is otherwise invisible is over a different window. So just press F10 on most computers, and you can see this. For me, I have to press function F10, and then if you want to get rid of all the windows and just see the screen without anything like that, then you can press F10 one more time, and it'll be like this, where there's no nothing obscuring your view. Then you press F10 one more time, and it'll come back to your regular view. All right, onward to turn in the completed work order. Hopefully all that showed sufficiently so that you could see what that looks like. If not, give it a shot on your own and let me know how it goes. The function keys are super awesome in this game. I like being able to like select yourself with F1. That's super cool. Really miss it with my current setup because having to press function before I press an F key makes it pretty much impossible to do that very decently while also fighting, because it takes too many hands. I need more hands, you know? Now, somebody was telling me something about there being a function lock setting. Don't know. Hopefully, someday I will remember to try that, but I guess today is not the day. The other interesting thing is I tried to put a chat overlay on the screen, and from what I can tell on my end of things, it's not actually showing the chat overlay. It has some message there in purple. Purple background, white writing. Don't know what it is. But that'll be something I need to look into, because I'm pretty sure what it's not is the chat screen. I was thinking it would be cool to have it on the screen so that I mean, I don't know how you folks have your stuff set up, but it seems like it would be useful to have it on the gaming screen so that you can see people's chat easily, and maybe especially when it's VOD. But I don't know. It doesn't seem to have done it as I had hoped it would. But I'll have to just look into that at some later point. Now, when you see things like this small impurities over there in the trade skill window, what that is a crafting event, and if you miss matching the symbol, so if it was that little gem and I clicked instead this little dude, then it would be like a failure to counter the event, and it's not so great. Typically, there's nasty results from it. You may lose a lot of durability, you may lose a lot of progress, you may lose a lot of mana, but it's best if you can match your counter to those to the symbol that's shown on that screen. One important note is that, say you're out of mana, out of power, you don't have to use the most current level of spell, and so you could go back to like page 1 and say it was the little dude. Then you could do Focus of Spirit at level 1, which costs quite a bit less power than it does at level 30. So, even if you're very low on power, often you can still counter those by going to the first levels of your spell or your ability and using those. Because it'll still count to not do you the whatever the detriment was that was going to happen from failing to counter it or countering it with the wrong thing. Even though it won't help you as much as your current level, it won't hurt you as much as missing it. You may have already all known that, but just in case, never hurts to reiterate, right? I think Minstrel's Fortune is a decent dirge, no, not dirge, troubadour spell. I've run out of coal, but I want to go and look at this. So yes, increases disruption, subjugation, ordination, administration of group members by 9.8, and increases focus of group members by 19.5. That's an until canceled spell, and so that's just a passive benefit for your entire group. Very good spell. I have to go get some more dark brown coal, it seems. Failed to check that whenever I went into the crafting instance a couple of crafts ago. Oh, there's White Plum. Hello, White Plum. Now we go over here to the dude down here, and he sells us the dark brown coal we're looking for. And again, you see I could just in the search bar start typing. I didn't even have to say dark. I could have said DABR or just DAB, and there it is. I'm going to get 5 stacks. So that ought to set us for a bit more crafting. I should also real quick hop over and sell some of these items that are just vendor trash items from when I was in Fallen Gate yesterday, because they're just taking up room. And this, okay, so this bird skull was the thing that was in the house depot, and as a lore and legend item. Definitely not a lore and legend item. Sells for 7 silver and 22 copper. It's, not terribly useful. The globe of water, you may think is vendor trash, but in fact, it can be used as a component in crafting. So I'll go ahead and keep those. This one, however, is a groundstone and cannot be used as a component. We're going to sell that. This actually can be, any kind of liquid that you see can be used as an aerated mineral water, which is more important for people who are like provisioners, for instance, who use aerated mineral water in a lot of their recipes. Depending on what the liquid is, it can sell for different amounts. So this one sells for 89 copper. I'm not sure what the going rate for aerated mineral waters is on this server. I can go and check in a minute, but you can pay attention, and if it sells for less than what you can buy the aerated mineral water for, then it would behoove you to simply use this instead of the aerated mineral water, and of course otherwise sell it. I am not I'm not any of those classes who need that, so I'm going to go ahead and sell mine. But just be aware that certain classes can definitely use them. I also need to click hide not for sale so as to not have all this other stuff. A badge of honor, that's just vendor trash. Black and Iron Relics, one of the status point items. So you want to keep a hold of that to sell for status points. It gives you both personal and guild status, just like doing a writ does. So this is another one that can be used in crafting. This is used in place of turquoise. So again, it sells for 17 copper. Might be better to just keep it for crafting. Hey Shadow, how you doing? Let's see here. Intricately carved acorn is another thing that's just, and it even says looted curiosity treasure. Now, you absolutely know when you see that, that's something to sell at the vendor. Jasper amulet is a status point item. Potion of earth walking is for getting into the Valley of Rogue Magi's over in the Commonlands. So I'm going to keep hold of that. Weirdly, the meat, it's reptile meat. So, but you would still think, maybe it could be substituted for some other kind of meat. It can't. So just sell that. Reptile skin's the same situation. It's just trash. This disc of metal here. So it says this small disc of precious metal seems to have been stamped or cut from a larger sheet for future use as some sort of coin. I have never found anything to do with that. It seems like from the description that there could be something to do with it, but I've never seen that. I'll keep it in the bags, and that way, if any of you know what can be done with that, if there is something that can be done with it beyond just selling it, you can let me know. I don't think there is, because it actually is tagged as a looted curiosity treasure, which typically that just means you sell it to a vendor. But anyway, just in case, I will keep it for now. This is a trophy. It's from doing a, let's see, this one, honestly, I don't remember. It's a quest. I don't remember if it's, no, not sure. But anyway, either way, I don't want to sell it, so we'll mark that not for sale. All right, so that pretty much clears up the vendor trash for the most part. We'll go ahead and sort that to get a little bit more bag space. Then go back for the crafting. So what are you up to this morning, Shadow? Harvesting. Ah. Well, that's a continual duty. I'm sure. I probably ought to go out and do some more here soon. It's one of those deals that's just a necessity, you know? Well, okay, I say it's a necessity. I guess technically you could buy all of your materials, but that would get expensive very quickly, and you'd have to have some way to be bringing in quite a bit of platinum. Or, yeah, well, I would say platinum to be able to do that. Yeah, that's where my my crafting level is too. I think level 35. Yeah, level 35. So solidly in the T4 zones for crafting. Could go to Zek to do it, but you know you've got to be a little bit of a masochist to go harvest there for fun. Now, if a Gathering Obsession was out, then you'd just have to grin and bear it, but it's not, and so we have Enchanted Lands as a lovely option. Also, if anybody needs any help at around level 31 or lower, and I would say up to 35-ish, I can stop crafting anytime you come give some assistance. I guess I'll open the crafting book and actually use or the knowledge book and use the correct level of skills too, just to mix things up a bit, you know? Now, Shadow, you had mentioned, I think, that you are French/Danish, as I recall. And I was wondering, are you in Denmark? You don't have to answer that if you don't want to, you know. Just random musings. And you may have mentioned it before. I knew that you had said French/Danish. I don't remember if you specified Denmark or if I just drew that conclusion on my own. Oh, I was saying I wasn't sure if you had said you were in Denmark previously, or if I just came to that conclusion somehow. I know it's probably difficult because I know I use a lot of idiomatic speech, so a lot of idioms, and possibly drew that conclusion could have been one of those. So that's part of the problem with English. Learning the language is one thing, but there's so many idioms that we use, right? I remember when I was in high school, there was a German foreign exchange student. I lived in France 10 years, yeah. So we were in a class, and it was a Spanish class. So she was a German foreign exchange student in the United States, learning Spanish. And during the lesson, the teacher said, she was talking about idioms, and she was explaining what an idiom was. She gave an example. She said, like, when you're wishing someone good luck on the stage, you might say, break a leg. And I remember that girl and her face of just utter shock. And she says, but why? Why would you tell someone to break a leg? And it was just hilarious. It's just like, right. She has no way to know what that means. And then, of course, someone explained where that came from, that saying, which is that the stage curtains would be drawn, and if the curtains were, say, enough encores were requested, then the concept was that it could, from opening and closing the curtain so many times, it could break one of the legs that holds up the curtains. And so that would mean that you did very, very well. It was very funny, though. Merde? Does that mean murder? What does that mean? Like here we might say you're killing it, right? I know that like muerte is death in like okay. So good luck or a curse? So like a curse word, like okay. Huh. Well, that's very different meanings. So I guess it's just the way that you say it, maybe the tone of voice that makes the difference, or the context. That's funny. So you could say it sarcastically, or you could say it, um, in such a way that it's unclear, and then the person wouldn't know if you were wishing them good luck or otherwise. That's interesting. Yeah, language is weird, you know. And the way that people use it is also strange. Over here, there's a thing they were saying there for a while, and this was some time ago that it was pretty popular. But they would say that's sick, right? So the way that when you say it like that, it's like that means that's a good thing, right? That's like that's really cool, right? But of course, when you first hear that, you might think that it would be a bad thing, or if you've just written it down somewhere, then you might not realize that that's actually, in a way, it's a compliment. They mostly use it when something's going wrong, like, okay, all right, all right. So they'd be like, merde. Yeah, that's right. The Americans, they just jump straight to the F word. That's right. Oh, yeah, that's how they do. That's how we do, I should say. Do not pass go, do not collect $200. There for a second, I thought I had just continued to craft something that that I had already finished this segment of the writ on. Like, man, I gotta pay more attention. But no, as luck would have it, I just auto-railed it to the correct thing. It's great. I don't really know much French. Very, very little. I can read just a very, very tiny amount of it. Basically, it's not even like it's not word for word. I can just kind of sometimes get the idea of things that are written in French because I was once pretty good at Spanish, pretty fluent at one time. I've lost a lot of that because that was in high school and I haven't used it enough to really retain it. I can still, pick up a little bit of it, and I can read it better than I can speak it or like translate it at verbal speeds. Um, but because of having some knowledge of Spanish, I can kind of figure out most of the Romance languages decently if it's written and I have time. French is the hardest one because there are so many extra vowels and things that have been added in, and it's a lot closer to Italian in that way than it is to Spanish, which of course is another Romance language. But I would say, I would say that French for me is the most difficult to read. And that's coming from someone who doesn't actually speak French at all. Like I said, very little of it. I don't know anything really about Danish. Biggest connection with that is Beowulf,
Well met.
66.9% into level. Vitality's totally out. I see that you said in Denmark it's obligatory to learn 2 languages. Usually it's German and English, and then choose a third. Interesting. When I was in high school, you had to take at least 1 year of a foreign language in order to. Well, I think that was maybe like the middle line of the graduation plan. I don't know. I don't know if the lowest one did. I know that the highest level you could graduate on at the time you had to have 2 years, and at least the middle had to do at least 1 year. So I think that's correct. And it didn't have to be, it could be any foreign language. In my case, I did Spanish, but it could have been any foreign language. They only offered. I can't say for sure. I don't think there were very many offered. If it was more than one, I'm not certain. It may have just been Spanish offered at the school, and then to do the other languages, you had to do it as a college course. And at that time, you didn't really have the online college option. which would have been super cool in a lot of ways. But you could go to a college locally and get your credit for that. Denmark, yes, only 5 million. Danish is considered one of the hardest languages to learn. Not surprised, just like I said, very, very little experience with it. I do have an interest in languages in general, but yeah, it doesn't. I'm not surprised that it's considered one of the hardest. Oh, I did not know that Greenland was working to be in there. Well, that makes sense. I haven't looked into that, but I'll have to. That's interesting. I had a friend in school whose mother lived in Greenland, which was very unusual. Not a lot of people living in Greenland, so. Gotta remember to switch over to Blade Frenzy. By the way, I just made that opaline stud, and want to remind everyone once more that when you're typing in the name, opaline stud, don't get complacent. Go ahead and add that I onto it, or else you're going to end up seeing your opaline stud and also your opal stud, and it's very easy to accidentally click the wrong one when you're not paying much attention and make a rare that you don't mean to make, and also not get the update for your writ that you were hoping for. The resources, yes. Resources in Greenland are becoming more available. That makes sense. I guess I better work on this durability a little bit instead of focusing on the progress. I'm gonna lose this item, and that'd be a shame. I tried to rearrange my my screen a bit as well in the game, so as to make things a little bit more clear for the viewers. I don't know if that was effective or not. Hopefully so, but it's hard for me to say. Oh yes, absolutely. I recommend using your knowledge book to craft always from the very beginning on this server, simply because it's better to get in the habit of doing it that way. Because, as you mentioned, the little hotbar underneath your trade skill window down here does not update as you level beyond these first 6. Those are your earliest tiered abilities for trade skilling. And you can't even drag things from your trade skill, from your knowledge book, over to that window successfully. It won't replace them. So, absolutely, as Shadow said, be sure to do your crafting from the knowledge book. Well, Shadow, it's not exactly a bug. It actually was that way at the beginning. It's it's just that they didn't ever have that right at the time. They fixed it later on live, and at some point they made that change. But for the first, number of years, I would say, I can't remember how many. You had to craft from the knowledge book in order to use the most updated trade skill abilities. Now you can put them on your hotbar if you want to drag them down and put them on your hotbar, just down where you would normally have your attacks. You can put them on there, and I even had some on here for a little while. It'll make it you can change your hotkeys so that you could just do like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 instead of having to use the knowledge book at all, or instead of having to click. But I went ahead and removed those as I've gained more abilities on my hotbars, so that I could keep my my hotbars smaller without having them cramped at the moment, and so I can sort of arrange things as I level. I've never played a swashbuckler before this one, so I'm having to learn it as I go. So, but an easy way to do that would be if you wanted to, like, go up to one that you're not normally using. You could go all the way to number 10, for instance. I have a thing there. I don't really want it there, so I'm going to clear that. But you could drag them down like this. And then you see that this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, all the way up. And so if I wanted to just hit the button instead of hitting my mouse, I could do it like that. So yeah, I normally use 3 at a time and switch which one with every tick. Yeah. Well, so I'd kind of pay attention normally whenever I am paying attention. I try to pay attention to what it's looking like on the screen. You can start out pretty well with just using the progress, and then as it starts to drop, then you may want to start implementing the durability abilities so that you can you don't want to lose it to the 3rd bar, but and there is a rhythm to it. If you listen to it, or if you just go with the beat, then it's pretty simple, because it ticks. Now you can press the buttons, and you can do all 3 within that time frame. Even if, say, for instance, that was the last one that went, you still get 2 in before it ticks again. Now we can do 1, 2, 3. Wait, there you go. So there's definitely advantages to using all 3 of them every tick. You can make the combine happen much more quickly than if you're just sitting there and countering events, which can take a billion years. Yeah, exactly. Since I'm talking and thinking about other things, I'm failing at the crafting a lot more than I would be if I was just concentrating on the crafting itself. But yeah, and sometimes even when you're, countering all of the events and everything just fine, you can still start losing durability. And so you're always going to be losing durability to some degree, but you can start losing a good bit of it, and then you want to definitely switch over to the durability increase buttons. And if you're not sure where you are in the beat, like if you've gotten off track, it doesn't feel quite right, then you can just wait for the next tick, and then you know where you're at again. But there's a little bit of a song to it, you know? Yes, yes. I know that a lot of people did die when the game first came out from the crafting tables. There was a particular there was a particular event that if you didn't counter it, it could deal you damage. I never actually died from the crafting, but certainly a lot of people did. So, and if that were still in the game right now, I would certainly be dying while I'm chatting and not paying as much attention. So, I could see it happening for sure. And in fact, on live, there's a particular quest where that can also happen. If you don't counter the event, it'll kill you. And I believe it's a repeatable in, I can't think of the name of it. It had Sundered Frontier and Sundered Frontier was one of the zones. I cannot recall the names of the zones and the name of the expansion. Yeah, something to keep in mind for sure. Oh, and speaking of things like that, I had mentioned the other day that the group zones in Wars of Akesha, the group crafting zones in Wars of Akesha, they were very, I would say, maybe under advertised, or maybe people just didn't like them because they took a long while to do when they first came out. But with group crafting zones, I thought was a really cool idea. And I had said the other day that I didn't remember there being other group quests. That's absolutely wrong. There are definitely other group crafting quests that came out. It was years ago now, and I cannot think of the zones. But there were group crafting quests, and there was also some PQs that you could do crafting while you did. So there's one in Tinkerland. Tinkerland, is this something new, or is that like we're talking about Butcher Block and Greater Faydwer? Not Tinker? Is it a fairy? Is it the fairies? I wait with bated breath. I don't know Tinkerland. A zone to Butcher Block. So yeah, Greater Faydwer probably. Or Lesser Faydwer. But I think probably Greater Faydwer, because Greater Faydwer is the beginner. Yeah, I understand. You do have tinkers. So yeah, Butcher Block, I think, is where you pick up the tinkering skill on the docks there. Which, by the way, means that should be coming out, right? In 2 months, in December. I understand that Echoes of Faydwer is coming out in December. So no tinkering and transmuting and all that yet. Was it an update that they did later where they brought in the tinkering? The city is Kelethan? We'll see, and you may be talking about, yeah, Steamfont Mountains. That's the zone in for the group quest that came out. I thought it came out with Moors, with the Moors expansion. And it was, you had a few different things that came out, and one of them was, man, I don't know. I don't know if that's right or not. It's been so long. I can't say. Tinkerland, yeah. Also known as Steamfont Mountains. Okay. I understand. I'm having such trouble remembering the names of zones from all throughout the game. Zones and people, NPCs, you know. You did a lot of group crafting in the old guild. Okay, so you did those quests. No, they were really I thought they were really cool, those quests. You in one of them you were like building a robot, a mechanical fellow to fight another robot, so it's like battle bots. Um it's really neat. That was one of the ones that you could do. And I feel like there was I don't remember, maybe there was a weekly quest that was the group crafting. It's hard to recall. Yeah, yeah, I thought that was probably the one you were talking about with the little mechanical robots or the huge mechanical robots. I believe they were level 100 epic times, I don't know, maybe epic times 4, I don't remember. But they would fight each other, and it was pretty neat. There was another one in the um, and I think this one was off of Moors. And build you were building something. I feel like it was a ship, maybe, that you were building. You're building something. Yeah, yeah, they were definitely epics. I just don't remember if they were by 4s or by 2s. But I believe that you picked those quests up on the Isle of Mara. There was a building there, and I think you would go upstairs, and you would get different kinds of quests there. You could get a daily and a weekly, I believe. And the daily would be running around the Isle of Mara and the zones around there, doing different things. One of them was like gathering shells, I believe, and one of them, like part of it was getting different kinds of wood from that zone off of the Isle of Mara. I cannot think of the name of it. And then another one was going into the other zone over there and getting clay. There were like clay statues. Cannot think what they were called. Can almost think of it, not quite. Yeah, that was the solo ones, were the daily ones. Yes, you could do the group zone solo as well. There was a trick to it where you could make all that you would need of a certain thing, because that updated in stages. And so if you made all but one of the items that you would need and you turn it in, you'd turn in each step basically all at once, one right after another. So it would save you time on the crafting to do it that way, stack it up. But anyway, they were a lot of fun. I enjoyed them. I did a lot by myself after others stopped doing them so much. I mean, I was still doing them for years after that came out. I thought they were really cool, and you could get rewards that were pretty neat from it. And I can't remember what all there was. I think there were XP potions, and then there were also trade skill XP potions. There was all kinds of cool stuff. I think people kind of, like I said, for some reason it was like either it wasn't a hit or it just wasn't as known about as some of the other stuff. And you had to, I don't know, you had to work your faction up so that you could get the crafting gear. That's what it was. There was good crafting gear out there. And so you could get like subclass specific crafting gear. And I did that with all of my characters. Got whatever their class was, crafting gear out there. Full set of armor. And I think there was something else. I can't remember what. Some sort of jewelry piece, or maybe it was a weapon that you could also get, and you had to have really good status. I think I want to say it was around 50,000 status. It took a while. You'd have to keep doing those dailies and then the weeklies. You know, you don't have to do the weeklies, obviously, but it would help if you did the dailies and you also did the weekly. Then you could build that status up. Feel like later on in Lab they made it where it was no longer exactly dailies. I feel like you could do it more often than that. And I don't remember at what point that happened or if I'm correct on that, but that's a vague, foggy memory of that being the case, that you would only have to wait, I don't know, maybe a couple of hours or something like that between repetitions. Yeah, see, you said, I hope they will bring back the timeline for Harvest Stuff with a cloak at some point. So yeah, the Owl of Mara quest, that Gathering Obsession. Gathering Obsession is an awesome quest for crafters for sure, because the cloak, and later on you get a lot of cool stuff from cloak. But that cloak is awesome. That's the first thing that he gives out. It's just really, really good. Yeah, cloaks in general. Now I think cloaks came out with Echoes of Faydwer, right? I think. So that, if so, should be coming out fairly soon. It's been, again, it's been a while. I can't say for sure, but I feel like close. Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's a whole slot of armor to start with that makes a big difference, and also just in one particular use of it, you can actually design guild cloaks. I think your guild level has to be level 30, and then you can design guild cloaks. And then you can be on, like, you know, identified as your group or whatever, which is kind of cool. Yeah, I know a lot of people are into the look of it. I'm more of a utilitarian in a lot of ways. I do like the ability to sort of identify your guild, and that way when you're running around together, everybody can, you know, be aware that, hey, you're all in the same guild. Just to warn you, I'm gonna have to go here in a little bit. I'm gonna do one more segment of this writ, and then I'm gonna have to take off for a while and get some things done. But yeah, I think the cloaks are gonna be coming into the game soon, I believe. And I think we should be able to. I don't know, because our guild is only level 25, so I don't know if we can already create the design for the cloaks or not. It doesn't make sense on one level, but then on the other level, I guess if you can, then you'd be prepared for when the cloaks come out, and it'd give you plenty of time to discuss, you know, how you want to do that and all with your guildmates. But I suspect if they do come into play in Faydwer, that'll be something that our guild will definitely be getting together to talk about. Dinner time, yeah. See, for me, it's more like lunchtime. But I won't have eaten lunch right away, but I will try to eat something within the next hour or so. Alright, so that completes that segment, and I'm going to take off. As always, it was a pleasure streaming with you guys, and love the chatting. It's always fun. I will be back probably within the next hour. And so go ahead, and if you haven't followed me yet, follow me so you can see when I go live again. And I will see you all later. Goodbye.